Hello and congratulations to the LGBTQ 2021 graduates. It is such a deep honor to be speaking at this year's Lavender graduation. My name is Tajhi Claybren. I'm a Black, queer, non-binary Carolina graduate, class of 2014. I'm so excited and proud of each and every one of you. What an accomplishment it is to have completed your coursework and to be graduating during a time such as this. From having to navigate a traumatic global pandemic to witnessing the continued assault on Black, Brown, and Indigenous lives, to learning of the countless acts of violence against Black, trans, and non-binary family members, particularly the murdering of Black and Brown transgender women and femmes. Your degree has been accomplished within a context filled with many difficult realities. Knowing this, to ensure that you are able to be most present and able to receive today's speech, we're going to take a pause to breathe. I'm inviting everyone watching this to get in a comfortable position as possible as I walk us through 2 deep breaths. I'm going to count down from 3 to 1. You will inhale through your nose into your lower belly and hold it there. You will hold it there for 3 seconds. Then you will exhale through your nose. Feel free to keep your eyes open if that feels most comfortable to you. We're going to do this 2 times. Are you ready? So, our first breath. 3, 2, 1. Inhale through your nose. Hold it there for 3 seconds in your lower belly. Exhale through your nose. Pause. Our second breath. 3, 2, 1. Inhale through your nose into your lower belly. Hold it there for 3 seconds. Exhale through your nose. Thank you so much for breathing with me today. To be honest, I needed that breath just as much as y'all did. In truth, I take multiple deep breaths several times a day, every day. I'm recording this speech exactly 2 years after making the life-altering decision to leave what I thought was my dream job. For 4 years, I've been working at a youth center whose mission included supporting LGBTQ youth and/or youth experiencing homelessness and housing instability. I started off as an intern, then I was hired as the first Black trans social worker and therapist, and then later I was promoted to a managerial role. Even as I write this speech, I got emotional thinking about having to leave the young people that I have been working with. However, the truth is, I was tired then, exhausted in fact, and needed to rest, but I was not aware of it. I had been needing to slow down, to rest, to be still for many years and did not know how to. I must be real with y'all today. I gotta be honest. I don't have all the answers. And in fact, I'm still in process as many of you are today. The Lavender graduation is a deeply important and necessary aspect of the graduation timeframe. To proudly identify yourself as a member of the LGBTQ community and practice expressing yourself authentically in a world that is still deeply antagonistic and violent towards, and invested in erasing and silencing aspects of your identity, most times our entire personhood, is massive. continuing to be you in the face of systems of oppression that would gladly have you hide yourself, dim your light, and not show up within your community while navigating a traumatic global pandemic and completing coursework at Carolina is worthy of celebration. We are here today celebrating you. As someone who has been working with LGBTQ undergraduates and graduates as a social worker and therapist for the last year and a half, I've seen that many of them are tired. In fact, they're pretty exhausted. Some of them were tired before COVID, and their exhaustion has only grown. Some of them are tired, and COVID is only one of the reasons that they are exhausted. For me, the practice of living and expressing myself authentically in a society that is actively working against me has often come with a deeply complicated mixture of emotions and feelings, ranging from joyous to exhilarating to healing to difficult to exhausting. However, what I have found about this tiredness is that this discussion, this reality that we have, is often not discussed in institutions like the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Through the personal experiences that I share, you will come to understand the necessity of slowing down, to pause, rest, go inward, and being present with yourself to determine how you are and what you may need in those moments of pause and rest. Some of you may or may not realize that you are tired and or exhausted. Some of you may not have slowed down enough to realize that you are tired and or exhausted. And some of you may not even realize that slowing down is an option. If you fall into any of these categories, it's fine. Breathe. Towards the end of my time at Carolina, there had been a small, teeny voice in my body requesting that I slow down, rest, and find balance. However, over the course of several years, the push towards excellence, the need to leave my heel print and show up as a leader everywhere I went, turned that voice into an infrequent whisper. In truth, it took me many years and even more difficult experiences after I had graduated to recognize that voice and adhere to the request to slow down, rest, and find balance. From 2010 to 2014, it felt like there was such intense, important work to be done and accomplished on behalf of and along with other students with marginalized identities at Carolina. I'm sure there was still work to be done when you were there as well. There was a push to perform. I remember organizing for social change, having to complete coursework, being active in various student organizations, internships, research opportunities, jobs, personal and interpersonal growth, family needs, and other things, etc. Currently supporting LGBTQ students, I am witness to this similar need to perform being required of them. Because of the toll that it has taken on my life and the toll that I continue to witness and actively support LGBTQ students around, the wisdom that I want to share with you today is that it is necessary that you remember the you in all that you do. In many of the school and work environments, Carolina included, that I have navigated, there has always seemed to be an explicit requirement that I show up and show out in those spaces. And oftentimes, it felt like it was at the expense of showing up for myself. During my time at Carolina, I was so deeply focused on pursuing excellence, leaving a heel print, and being a leader that worked to address injustices faced by other students that I seldom took the time to breathe, slow down, and be present with what Tajhi may have wanted and needed outside of what was important for the collective. The collective was and is important. But so was I. So are you. So often we are indoctrinated into the belief that our worth is attached to our production and or what we can give and or do for others, institutions, and our systems. If someone would have asked me something about myself or my interests outside of school, work, and or organizing during that time, I'm not sure I would have had an answer. And in fact, I might have even gotten annoyed that they want me to think about myself and or my interests outside of those areas. I was so deeply passionate about the issues that I advocated for, but had not yet realized that I could be passionate about myself at the same time. To be aware of one's own needs and wants, to be present with oneself, and to tend to oneself is a requirement of any movement towards healing, justice, liberation, and collective care. We must be just as curious and passionate about our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, sexual well-being as we are about whatever accomplishments we seek to achieve, jobs or tasks we seek to complete, interactions we seek to have, and or issues we seek to advocate for. If we are trying to do a cross-country road trip, a half tank isn't going to get us the whole way. If you consider yourself a leader, a creative, a thinker, a healer, someone that wants to show up for others, someone that wants to advocate for an issue or change, or someone that's trying to just get by and get to the next stage in their life, know that your output cannot be greater than what you put into yourself. Because if it is, then you risk the possibility of not showing up at the level with the attention nor the care that you would like. In truth, that's exactly what I experienced during my time interning, working with, and being a manager with the youth center. Originally, it felt like such a massive gift to continue committing my life force energy to supporting and working with young people at the intersections of race, gender, sexuality, and housing status. However, I realized over time that the organization had not conceptualized the necessity of ensuring that staff and leadership alike do the work of slowing down to pause and rest and going inward to check in with themselves. Without this space, we were unable to truly be aware of our needs, to be present with ourselves, nor to tend to ourselves. I started to find myself becoming more distant from my own sense of self. I experienced diminished creativity, the inability to hold complexity, minimizing, chronic exhaustion, anger and cynicism, and a heightened desire to numb myself. These were all new to me and outside of the character that I had known myself to be. When reflecting, my priority had not been on supporting Tajhi and the youth that I worked with, but instead it became supporting and prioritizing the youth that I worked with while working in an organization that wasn't committed to supporting me nor other staff members. Interlocking system of oppression being the foundation of our country makes it such that any institution that we navigate will have been influenced. As such, you must ask yourself, who and or what system does it serve when an environment does not create space for you to slow down, to rest, pause, to go inward, to check in with yourself, and to determine what you may need or you may want? From my experience, I learned that it was in service of those who had the power to make decisions and the systems of oppression that served as the foundation of those environments and organizations. Not having the necessary space resulted in many of the staff, including myself, being harmed by the institution that we had been so excited to work for. and the youth that we had been looking to support being harmed as well. You see, 2 years ago today, it finally dawned on me that while I had been seeking to do important and necessary healing work within community, the exhaustion that I felt at a deep level needed my attention. I had realized that because I was not regularly slowing down to rest and pause, I found myself continuously in environments that requested more of me than they would offer in return. It became clear that if leadership within these organizations were not going to be curious about themselves, then I would be a casualty, along with the work that I hope to do and the young people that I intended to support. Creating the necessary space that I needed to slow down, rest, go inward, and check in within myself has been so deeply healing and necessary and rewarding. Currently, I'm engaging in practices that allow me to come back to myself. I am able to practice being more present with my daily life, and I am realizing with a bit more ease when I need to communicate a boundary. Through this process, I have discovered things about myself that I would have never known if I had not been curious enough to slow down and check in with myself. What is it that you may want or need when you take the time to slow down a little bit? What comes up for you when you take a chance to breathe a little deeper? When you take that walk outside, what do you notice around you? When you start to move your body again just for your own personal enjoyment, how does it feel? When you finally call that friend back that's been trying to check in on you, what do you all talk about? When you get an unaffected call from someone that cares about you and that you feel safe talking to, how do you feel inside? When you finally get a chance to talk to a therapist, a coach, a holistic healer, or a mentor, what comes up for you? When you get that dope tarot card reading from someone that you admire, what do the cards have to tell you? When you sit with yourself just a little bit longer, what does your body ask of you? In truth, slowing down can look different ways depending on different people. I would just suggest that the behavior interaction creates more space for you to get closer to yourself in a way that feels and allows you to be safe and honest with yourself. As you graduate and move into this new stage of your life and or opportunities, I ask that you take a chance on yourself for yourself. What kind of environment would you like to be in moving forward? What kind of people would you like to engage with moving forward? Have you been mindful about what your body has been asking from you? Have you eaten today? Have you drank water today? Have you moved your body today? How much sleep did you get last night? Was it restful? Have you connected with someone that you care about and or that cares about you? Are the values and or frameworks being practiced, embodied, and are lived out within leadership and staff within the organizations that you hope to engage with? Do you feel like you, your colleagues, or potential clients and or participants are treated as humans and not as machines and or products? Is there space to slow down and rest, go inward, and name when something doesn't feel right for you? Know that I am proposing a practice, in fact, which took me years, several work environments, many more experiences, and even more difficult experiences to arrive at where I am today and with the message I'm offering to you. This push to check in with self and to be more present with self is not something that happens overnight. As LGBTQ people, we are often having to do invisible labor that other people will never see. We're often asked to navigate limiting spaces that are offered to us, while simultaneously having to create a world that can see, hold, understand, honor, and celebrate the fullness of who we are and who we seek to be. Remember that doing this work in the face of systems of oppression that would rather us not exist is truly an exhausting task that requires rest and pause often. Your relationships depend on it. Your relationship to yourself depends on it. The quality of work that you offer to others, your cause, and your interest depends on it. You burning out and pushing yourself to exhaustion is not in service of anything other than these systems of oppression, and in fact, further creates distance between where you are today and where you truly want to be. Remember the you in all that you do. Take that time to breathe, to be more present. Take the time to celebrate. You've done the work. You are doing the work. Now rest. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this special day with you all. I am so immensely proud of you all. Thank you.